Shuffle Off to Buffalo? Or were we happy to see American Buffalo by David Mamet? And let's hear from Bina, and then I'll chime in.
American Buffalo by David Mamet. This time is with Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Rockwell and Dan Chris. And the play is about a nickel, American nickel. And it has on one side is Franklin and the other side is American Buffalo, right? And some is a junk shop. Lawrence Fishburne's character, he owns Donnie, his name is, and he owns a junk shop. And one of the best thing in the whole play is the junk shop. Okay, and some customer buys this nickel for $40, and his partner in crime, which is Sam Rockwell, Tish, he finds that out. They know so crazy. They think that nickel was so valuable. It was so great that somebody paid $40 for it. Now they want to get that nickel back. And there's like something going on, fighting and, Sam Rockwell's character breaking everything. And they're very nasty in the 4-letter words and all. This play I have seen at least 4 times. And I've never really understood 100% what this thing is about towards, like the nickel thing. Who gets the nickel? Do they get the nickel back?
And we should explain this. This takes place like in the 60s or 70s, because where $40 meant a lot of money,
But of course.
In today's, you think in today's standards, $40,
Yeah, but they are like so they are losers, such losers,
But we should explain that Darren Chris's character is a junkie, and both Sam and Lawrence, I can't remember their names, both are worried that he's going back to being a junkie again.
Yeah, but she's the word, like I don't want to reveal the end, but whatever, everybody will be confused anyway. But then Bobby, the character, this guy has a nickel, so I don't know if it's the same nickel or is another nickel. So now they are beating him up about the nickel. I don't know. Did you understand that?
I gotta get my 5 cents in. I haven't been able to say anything.
Your nickel on it.
First of all, I don't like David Mamet at all. I like his comedies, but his dramas, I don't like them. I don't understand them. But I gotta say, I've seen this a couple times too. This was a good cast. They had great chemistry. The acting was superb. The play sucks. And, I could use a bunch of 4-letter expletives like David Mamet to say how hideous it was.
Yeah, well, Bobby was not that great. That young kid was very weak, but the Sam Rockwell and
so I'm giving it
Lawrence
a happy face.
Fantastic.
I'm giving it a happy face for the actors because they really are wonderful, and you should go to see the actors in the set. But the play itself, don't even try to understand it. Just enjoy the actors.
Yeah, I know, but I give them a mixed face because I love the acting. But I just never understood it, and I'm very frustrated at myself that I never understand this play. I do not know why. I don't understand.
Anyway, we gotta go. We got a lot more to talk about. So
okay, mixed face for me. Then thank you very much.
Happy for the actors, unhappy for the play.
In Tracy Letts the Minutes, an air of mystery looms over the meeting of the Big Cherry City Council. Mr. Peel, new to the town and even newer as a member of the council, missed the previous meeting so he could be on the West Coast with his dying mother. What happened to former member Mr. Carr? And why won't anyone tell Mr. Peel about it? Is there any truth to the heroic town legend celebrated in their annual Heritage Festival? Why is there so much arguing and sniping at each other and so little cooperation? Why aren't the minutes of the previous meeting ready for presentation? What is the story about money collected from the sale of stolen bicycles? Questions will be answered, but a distaste for the town's proceedings will remain. And I thought it was a lot of sniping back and forth about not all that much that really interested me. So I like the performers and I like the set, but I'm giving it a happy face minus, which I think is a bit generous.
Yeah, the first thing I said to Mark was, I'm like, you're a native New Yorker, aren't you? You've never been to a small town like meeting, and you've never been on the board of anything. So yeah, so you don't know how these things operate, but I've been on the building board. I've gone to PTA meetings. So yeah, if you've been to any of those things, you know how these things operate. That's why I am no longer on a board. If anyone asks me to be on a board, I will say emphatically no, because they go on for meeting after meeting over the most meaningless drivel and get all hysterical about it. My God, in high school, when we were trying to put together a float for, football parade, the argument over balloons or popcorn in a time machine went on forever. I mean, people get very passionate about really stupid stuff. But in this one, it was even stupider, but scary. I mean, it was so, the build was really good. And yes, these got heavyweight performers in this. I mean, you got Blair Brown, you got Austin Pendleton, and Sally Murphy and Jesse Mueller, Denny McCarthy. All these amazing people are in this show. So I just thought, oh my God, I absolutely just loved it. I was laughing and just shocked by the proceedings. So I say this is one meeting minutes you want to attend, and I wonder whether you vote happy face minus like Mark, or will you be like major happy face like me? Well, go see and find out.
Hangman by Martin McDonough, and I'm sure you know about Martin McDonough. He's the master of comedy. It's like so black, dark black. Really, subject matters are so serious. What can be more serious than the word hangman? It is about it's kind of based on the real facts in 1965 when they were going to abolish the death penalty, and this was the last hanging. And this hangman is perhaps maybe hanging an innocent person, but the rest of the play takes place in a bar. He's a bar owner, and it's been like a year later, and they are the regular people who come to the bar, barflies. They're always talking about that hanging. Perhaps the person was innocent. And then there's a person walks in, very young, very mysterious, doesn't talk at all in the beginning. Later on, he's like, he cannot shut up. And the hangman Harry's he has a daughter and wife. Doris Gaby. She's Shirley. I think her name is Shirley. The actress name is Gaby, and she is kind of attracted towards this sinister person. And then the story unfolds, which I cannot tell you. But it is the most fantastic, hilarious, dark comedy. But I didn't understand some of the things, but I really enjoyed it. Also, happy face from my side.
I've noticed that in Martin McDonough's plays and movies that most of the time people aren't held accountable for their bad actions. And I mean, the Harry, who was the blowhard hangman, he's very jealous of his predecessor, Pierpont, who was a much better hangman than he was. And the little people in his bar, they remind me of the Iceman Cometh people. They all admire him and they look up to him, and yet he treats them hideously, as he does his poor wife. And both of them are both flummoxed by their teenage daughter. And this menacing stranger that comes into their midst, we don't really know what's going on with him. But I just found this absolutely, it was just so dang funny. And I, as you said, the dialogue is very thick, so it was hard to understand some of the accents. And I had to admire the actors who managed to ground their characters, even when they behave most illogically. But does it matter if it makes no sense, if it moves the story along in such a droll, disturbing way? And unlike Pinter, who uses ambiguities to clothe the intimidating atmosphere, McDonough has humors galore, or in this case, gallows humor to enliven the mood. Hangman will rope you along to the surprising climax, and I give this one a happy face too.
So exciting! Hello, here we are.
Gaby French.
Oh my gosh. First, what did you think when you got a Theatre World Award?
Just felt really touched, and making my Broadway debut is a dream come true. So to kind of have this as a bonus really is just really, really lovely, and I feel really honoured to be receiving it.
And you're in Hangman.
Mm-hmm. I am. We have 2 weeks left.
I know, and
it's so quick.
And your character is really is a very important. You're like you drive that plot to like such a conclusion.
I do, and it's really fun actually because it kind of leaves the audience wondering what's happening especially at the interval, and that's what we want, and I think that's what the writer wants, is that whole interval to be, well, I don't want to give it away. You know, is them wondering.
Very careful.
Is them wondering, right?
And you play a moody teenager.
I do, I absolutely do, which I'm not a teenager myself. So it's actually quite nice to explore something that's very different to me, and I've been with the character for quite a few years now, and we tried to do it in 2020 with COVID. So it's really special. It feels really special this time around, you know, especially after a pandemic when you realise how important the arts are, and especially going to see theatre, you know. So I think we kind of have a responsibility, even more so than we did before, to tell a story, because people are in that theatre after 2 years of not having it and going, we want to see something. So it's special.
And not only that, it's such a grim subject matter, but it's so funny.
It is, and I think Martin kind of strikes that balance of dark comedy, but also, you know, the truthfulness. That's what runs throughout the play. It is the truth of it, and it really was like that in 1960s in Northern England. And I think the darkness and the comedy comes out of the truth of the play, and I think that's all we can ask for as actors is, you know, it's all done for us. We just have to say the words. So it's a real pleasure to be in Martin's writing as well, is what I would say.
And it must be odd to have a father who's basically a legal murderer.
Yeah, and also I think because my character Shirley is 15, there's a lot to comprehend in there. There's a lot of emotions. She's going through a lot as a 15-year-old. So I think there's a lot to think about. She's the daughter of landlords who run the pub, and a father who kills people. So I think it's a lot to comprehend for a 15-year-old. So I think there's a lot going on, and I think the play explores that, you know, and who she comes into contact with and how those relationships kind of bloom or don't bloom.
And you get to interact with the mysterious stranger. He's so menacing, and yet you have to be attracted to him. So how do you get past his menacing facade?
Well, he's brilliant, Alfie Allen. And his
name is Alfie, by the way.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, he's a really gorgeous person, and so it makes it very easy to work with him. But I think from a character point of view, I think she's taken by this stranger who walks into the pub, and no one ever like that has walked in before. So I think she is just kind of taken by what he's about, who he is, and he's showing her attention, and that is something that is really special to her, because she doesn't get that often from people in the pub, you know. So suddenly this person is paying her attention, and I think it excites her.
It doesn't hurt that he looks like a young Malcolm McDowell.
Pardon, sorry?
He looks like a young Malcolm McDowell.
True. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that before. Yeah. But yeah, you know, he plays it so brilliantly, so that's it's easy for me to bounce off, and it's lovely to share the stage with Alfie. I really like him, and David, who plays my dad, and they're the two newbies to the production, and they are both brilliant and really lovely, generous people. So it makes my job a lot easier then.
Well, congratulations and enjoy the show.
Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I went to Abrons Art Center to see Jess Barbagola's Weekend at Barry's. It's one of these WBE plays that I just adore, weird but enjoyable, not WTF. It was kind of meta because he's like this cultural person who wants to get his plays or his readings done, and then he rehearses it, and then he's got other young people coming in he's supposed to foster, from Helen Hufflecugel, played by Anna Foss Wilson, who's this rather hoity-toity but rather down and dirty girl, and she's looking at these two young people that are coming into town to be LGBTQ and acting and see the big city. That's Melody that's Leo Biv, who's gorgeous, and Dove Murray Ginn, who really can dance. And then you have Melody, who had a past relationship with Barry. You've got Antonio Sheetrock, Cecilia Gentelli, who is so wonderful at Muggy. I should just laugh and you love her. And then there's Glenn Carter, Ian Sheedy, who is this reclusive author who's somehow involved with everyone, and Tanya Marquette Terry. It's just a lot of fun. Just go for the ride of it all. Enjoy it immensely like I did. And it's only playing till June 26th. Happy Face. And now you get to meet Howard Tucker, who we've been talking about. He's here now to review Sister Act at Paper Mill Playhouse, one of my favorite places in the world. Take it away, Howard.
Well, thank you so much, Eva, and thank you for letting me join you. What a treat and what a pleasure. I've been a Broadway fan for quite a while, and thank you so much. I loved Sister Act at the Paper Mill Playhouse. It does have a fairly simple plot based on the movie with Whoopi Goldberg about Dolores Van Cartier witnessing a murder committed by her then boyfriend, and then going into the witness protection program with the policeman Sweaty Eddie, and the protection program places her as a nun in a convent with a disapproving mother superior, and we need to see whether Whoopi is able to make a group of musically challenged sisters into a good choir to prevent the church from closing and being acquired. Paul Vanessa Ortiz does a great job as Dolores. She's bubbly, she's energetic, and looks beautiful, both with her bushy hair and with the veil. And the music, I think, is excellent. In the movie with Whoopi Goldberg, they were mostly 60s and 70s jukebox tunes, but now they're original tunes by Alan Menken and Glenn Slater. And the music, I think, is just wonderful. I very, very much enjoyed the play, the energy, the songs. I give it a happy face.
Noah Miller and I went to the Nouvelle Three to see Leonardo, a wonderful show about a terrible monster created by Manual Cinema based on Mo Willems' stories. It's a wonderful show about a terrible monster. Leonardo is a monster who can't scare anyone. Poor dear, he's cute and sweet, not scary. Other monsters make fun of him. Leonardo decides to find a kid who's scared of everything and finally be able to scare the tuna salad out of someone. He's found the perfect foil in Sam, or has he? What happens when fellow monster Frankenthaler and his kid Carrie meet up with Sam and Leonardo? Presented using a combination of puppets and paper cutouts projected on a screen, the innovative people of Manual Cinema who present this production are teaching kids to love themselves and accept themselves for who they are. A positive life message, two big happy faces.
All right, so we're here today to discuss, as she refers to it, the damn Scottish play, and as I refer to it as the M Word, starring Daniel Craig and Ruth Negga, which is currently on Broadway for a limited edition run going through July 16th, I think. And we're basically going to be discussing
July 10th.
July 10th.
Unless they extended it.
Well, I don't think they will have extended it. They're running ads on TV for that every morning, pleading for people to buy tickets. So basically, you know, everybody knows what the M Word play is about. It's about this Scottish guy who is tricked into killing his liege lord by his wife so he can become the king.
Well, also the three weird sisters.
Yeah, the three weird sisters.
They said that they put the bee in his bonnet.
Yes, but still, this is the basic plot. Guy kills king, becomes king, is taken down by somebody else who then becomes king.
English history.
English history. I mean, basically, I have read the M Word play. I have seen the M Word play. It has never been one of my favorites, but
it's been one of mine, and I hate Shakespeare.
I mean, if you're gonna go for, like, you know, tragic drama, I prefer Othello. So, which I can actually say out loud.
Yeah, I like Richard III. Those are my two.
All right. This was the most dreary performance of this play that I have ever seen. And I am talking about the sets.
But they did try to soup it up. I couldn't resist.
Oh, I wish you had. Everything is dreary. The sets are dreary. The costumes are dreary. The acting is dreary.
The lighting's dreary.
The lighting is dreary. It's just basically gloom and doom from the outset, and it never gets any better. Daniel Craig, whom of course I love as Bond, and I loved in Knives Out, and I think can be a great actor when he is given the proper direction, basically turns from this sort of sniveling worm instantly into this psychotic killer. There's no nuance. There's no depiction of him basically starting to think, well, yeah, maybe I could do this. No, it's just like from 1 second, he's like, oh, no, I can't do this. To the next, it's like, ah. So Ruth Negga, supposedly, according to the ads, is a revelation.
She got Tony nod.
I know she did. Her costumes were good. She was the only one that had any decent costumes.
And charisma.
Because she was the only one that had any costumes that had any kind of color to them. But overall, I just didn't see the point of this particular performance. I know it gives people a chance to see Daniel Craig live, but I have to say, during the performance that Eva and I went to, the couple that was seated next to me got up during the intermission and left and did not come back. So they were obviously less than enthused as well.
I should get a word in here.
Yes, you go.
Well, also, a big fault lies with the director, Sam Gold. Sam Gold, he's like one of these Ivo von Hove directors that likes to put in weird stuff to show what a great director he is. And in this one, to explain my funnier pun that you didn't get, was they eat soup all the time in this thing, and it ends with them eating soup. It's like to show, the head at the end, he just goes like this and goes back to eating his soup. I mean, and the thing is, one of the witches, Maria Dizia, I adore her. She's a wonderful actress. I mean, I'm sorry she was in this. It just was horrible. But I gotta say, Ruth Negga is gorgeous. She, I got the same reaction when I first saw Katarina Lenk. I mean, she's just one of these beautiful, charismatic, like, ooh, gosh, I like looking at her, even though, she was doing a dreadful version of this play, which is a shame because it's, like I say, I hate Shakespeare, and for me to, anyway, so yeah.
And don't forget, there was a song. I've never seen a version of the M play that had a song in it. At the end, when they were eating soup, that one kid was singing a song.
Oh, see, it's so forgettable. I've already forgotten it. All I remember is soup.
Soup and a song.
Yeah.
Soup, so like dinner theater for the murder set,
but not for the audience.
No.
Oh, okay, anyway, I'm giving you an unhappy face.
Make that 2. Sorry, Daniel. Sorry, Ruth.
And now to Americano, the true story of Tony Valdovinas, that has 3 authors, Jonathan Rosenberg, Fernanda Santos, and Michael Bernard. It's based on the true story of Tony Valdovinos, who dreamed of being a Marine all his life with his childhood friend Ceci. But then he gets a rude awakening when he discovers that he is a dreamer, one of the undocumented young people who considered America their home, and they only want to be citizens and part of the American dream. What will this news do to Tony in his relationship with Ceci, his family, friends, and community? This was a very earnest musical with a lively score by Kerry Rodriguez and high acting choreography by Sergio Mejia. Jamie Roderick did some gorgeous lighting, and a huge cast of 18 spirited actors made this a real crowd pleaser. Sadly, I was not one of the crowd. Within the first 2 minutes, I knew what was going to happen. My eyes hurt by the end from all the eye rolling I inadvertently did. They didn't intend on writing a bad musical, they just did. But I'm going to give it a mix because it had some elements that were okay. And Benjamin, who loved it, will counterattack what I said on Facebook.
In fair Brooklyn, where we lay our scene, Romeo and Bernadette is an outlandish, funny, and updated Shakespearean story that you know, with a twist. This musical, full of laughter, opera, glitz, and Brooklyn accents, begs the question, what would Romeo and Juliet look like if it were set in 1960s Brooklyn? The premise is simple. Romeo wakes up 6 centuries later to find himself in love with a Brooklyn native visiting Verona, Bernadette, who resembles Juliet. He sets himself off on a wild goose chase to land the hearts of both the audience and Bernadette. Romeo navigates the 20th century speaking the native tongue of Shakespeare and finding himself in a familiar cross between 2 families, only this time, Italian mobsters. The musical numbers are unexpected and entertaining, and Jen will talk more about these. The set is quite simple but versatile, consisting of white beams that take different forms, like a stage, dressing room, altar, streetscape. I review this show as a happy face Very much recommended to audiences of all demographics, as who doesn't know the classic story of Romeo and Juliet, and who doesn't want a feel-good, laugh out loud story. Romeo and Bernadette, a musical tale of Verona and Brooklyn, runs through June 26th at Theater 555.
Well, I have to say, I saw it before the pandemic, interestingly enough. I went to the opening night in January 2020. I didn't believe it could work at first. However, it's absolutely thrilling, and it's a brilliant concept and script, truly stunning music, and a performance that literally made the hearts of the audience sing. The book is first rate. Getting Romeo to 1960 Brooklyn just worked out logically. The suspension of disbelief made almost effortless. The dialogue is consistently hysterical from beginning to end, with remarkably apt lyrics, clever, witty, and adapted to the music with extraordinary intelligence and skill. And the score is simply breathtaking, with romantic waltzes and unforgettable love songs. Musical supervisor Steve Orich has done an incredible job adapting classic Italian art songs into the pop music and theater styles of the 1960s. Romeo and Bernadette has everything a great musical needs: terrific music, glorious singing, blockbusting ensembles, and love. Director-choreographer Justin Ross Cohen and his cast have put together what I can say without hesitation is the best fully staged new musical I've seen since I began reviewing. If it doesn't move on to Broadway, I'm not sure anything can. Every moment is sheer magic. See it now while you can afford it. It's truly a work of genius. Happy Face Plus from me.
Out of the Box presents 5 by 10, which are Tennessee Williams one-act plays that deal with loneliness for marginalized, doomed people. The strangest kind of romance. New tenant bonds with the previous owner's cat and is pestered by his needy landlady. The last of my solid gold watches is the last of the old-time drummers who tries to inspire a younger salesman with how better the quality was in the old days. The Lady of Larkspur Lotion, two delusional people fuel each other's grandiose imaginations. Talk to Me Like the Rain and Let Me Listen. Woman tells man of her perfect imagined life of living alone in an isolated hotel with just a chambermaid to speak to while reading books and walking a beach. Hello from Bertha. Madam is trying to get her down and out sickly prostitute to leave by contacting an old flame back in Memphis. It was a fine large cast that understood the nuance of Williams' poetry and made these heart-wrenching characters come to life. This gets a happy face. I just love my Tennessee Williams. Our next show will be July 2nd, where we'll talk about a lot of the Broadway shows and the Theater World Awards and Hotel Awards and lots to do. And see you July 2nd.